Hello and welcome to another episode of News2Gamers. I'm your host Simon Hill, and what a week we've had. We've been bombarded with weird cosplayers, industry developers, singers fresh from Paloma Faith's grasp from The Voice, rock icons and so much more. All this to be a part of something very special for next week's show. However, let's show you what's coming up on this week's show, shall we? Yes, welcome to N2G TV. We have one episode remaining this season. It's gone so quick. But don't worry, we are only taking a short break whilst we relaunch not just a new look TV show, but the News2Gamers brand itself is getting serious overhaul and some incredible support as well. We'll share more of the upcoming exciting news about what's going on in the N2G headquarters at a later date. On tonight's show, we have another classic nostalgia rerun as Rich takes a trip back to Rupture Farms. Who remembers that? Just to see what all the fuss was about. Plus, I'll be reviewing the return of the EA Sports Brawler UFC 2. Oh, and Leanne is here. She's pulled together some of the most awesome tweets and comments about what's trending in the gaming world. She'll be here in just a short while, hopefully anyway. But first, let's give you the lowdown. Finally, Uncharted 4 of Thief's End has finally gone gold. Yes, it's about time. Originally, the game was due out for Christmas 2015, but now this means that the base game is finished and the discs are on the way to the manufacturers for mass production ahead of its game's release in May. Naughty Dog has shared the news on Twitter with the tweet stating, "Very glad to say that hashtag Uncharted 4 has gone gold today. Congrats to the team." Congrats indeed. It's been a long road to release for Uncharted 4. The PS4 exclusive was first scheduled to launch in 2015. Later moved to March 2016, then April, before the latest delay in May 2016, just because they thought they couldn't ship enough copies out. Bad Naughty Dog. Uncharted 4 is the final entry in the series that Naughty Dog plans to develop and the last one to feature Nathan Drake in the lead role. A lot of people speculating his demise. However, the series may live on with another developer, who knows. Uncharted 4 director Neil Druckmann shared this picture of what appears to be one of the first discs with a full game on it. The tweet reads, "Every journey must come to an end. Hashtag gold, hashtag Uncharted 4. I'm definitely going to cry with this game." Additionally, the game's other director, Bruce Straley, said in his own tweet that Uncharted is possibly the most visually stunning game he's ever created and the best Uncharted ever. I can't wait. Get it out. Right, if you long for a racing game that does away with the simulation and concentrates on arcade-style fun, then you need to check out the upcoming Trackmania Turbo. The racer's creator Ubisoft may have its hands full with the division at the moment, which is awesome, but it's still found time to release an awesome multiplayer trailer for Turbo's many multiplayer modes. The game is due out on the 24th of this month, which is tomorrow. It's like a weird mashup of Micro Machines, if you remember that on the PS1, MotorStorm and MX vs ATV. It's all a bit of a plethora of those put together. It's pretty awesome, check it out.
Trackmania is not only a solo experience, there are so many other ways to test your mettle. Double Driver! Split Screen! Stunt! Bonus! Mono Screen! Also, Hot Seat, Arcade Smash, Hot Seat Double Driver, Arcade Hot Seat Smash, Split Screen Smash, Split Screen Stunt, Double Driver Smash. If you think it's not enough, you can try your luck online against 100 racers.
Quantum Break's release in early April, Digital Foundry has analysed a pre-release version of the time-bending action game and discovered that it may run at 720p. A white paper from developer Remedy, published in 2015, suggested the game, or at least some elements of it, would run at 1080p. But Digital Foundry said it has yet to see evidence of a full 1080p gameplay. In every scene tested so far, a native resolution of 720p is the consistent result found in each pixel count test so far. Digital Foundry goes on to say that Quantum Break, even at its reported 720 resolution, still remains visually impressive and stunning in many areas. Remedy has not yet responded to Digital Foundry's report. It's possible the final resolution will be higher, or that even at sub 1080p the game will look great. Resolution isn't everything after all. Digital Foundry reports that Quantum Break runs at a steady 30 frames per second, even during its intense effect-heavy combat sections. Plus, Digital Foundry's report is on an Xbox One edition of Quantum Break. That means the PC edition of Quantum Break could end up looking slightly better. Quantum Break, which also includes TV show launches on April 5th, and that's going on Xbox One and PC. The PlayStation VR headset prices have finally been confirmed. Yes, I can't wait. It's going to set you back roughly about £349, $399 and €399. It comes out in October. Sony announced this at its GDC press conference. PlayStation VR does not include the PlayStation camera, which is required for head tracking. So you may want to take another extra £40 with you just onto the initial price. However, it supports positional tracking, low latency and 360-degree audio. More than 50 games will be available between launch and the end of the year. I can't wait. One of these games will be a special version of the Star Wars Battlefront game produced by EA, LucasArts and DICE that's made exclusively for PlayStation VR. That one's definitely on my list. Here's an awesome trailer showcasing some of the world you can expect to find yourself in whilst playing this awesome device. It's PlayStation VR. Check it out.
Cracking a little piece of shit. I don't give a monkey's what Frank thinks about you. I don't trust you. Keep your eyes peeled. You ain't clear yet.
So all you've got to do is walk in, get the diamond, and walk out again. Easy.
There you go, PlayStation VR is going to be incredible. October's going to be a very expensive month for me. Hopefully Battlefield 5's out then as well. Right, she won't appreciate me showing you this, but here's what you can expect from our very own Leanne Rogers to be looking like on next week's show. Yeah, look at that. I think she pulls it off quite well. It's better than her usual look, but anyway, unfortunately she doesn't look like that today. She's sporting the very chilled out, I'm going to play GTA all day look. I think you pulled that Lara Croft off quite well. I mean, you did all right, you know.
Oh my God, as if you put that on. I really want to punch you right now. But you know, I love dressing up, but it was a bit of a piss take to be told 2 hours before the show. I mean, I was trying to make a bow out of a coat hanger, for God's sake. Fortunately, it never made it on the show. Anyway, back to the important part, you know, the show. Right, so many of you out there again getting involved over Twitter with the latest gaming crazes and the excitement you guys are showing over the awesome news that Sony have finally announced the upcoming PlayStation VR prices and date. So here's what you guys had to say on that. At Sparrow241 tweets, I'm glad I found something that gets me to the level of excitement that I had when I was little. Hashtag Sony VR, hashtag virtual reality. At JDub2K said, PS4, hashtag virtual reality, starting October 2016. Perfect. As hashtag Trump is being voted in, we'll begin the full-time transition from reality to fantasy. You know, I've also noticed a lot of you guys out there counting down the days as Final Fantasy XV's official release date is set to be announced on the 30th of March. A lot of hype over this one. At Harum Ifuziwara, I think I got that one right, hashtag Final Fantasy XV, the most anticipated game of 2016. You know, a bit of a grammatical error on this one, but you know, we get the gist of what you're trying to say. At Kiwi Rock 120, I think should just sleep until Final Fantasy XV comes out. You know, and some very interesting UFC 2 tweets here. At Ash Darby, well, hashtag UFC 2 is insanely hard. First two fights I thought I'd won, but went to the CPU. Then got dropped like a sack of spuds on my third one. At Ryan T. Han, for everyone think hashtag UFC 2 does right, it does too to make me want to rip the disc from my PS4, snap it in half and set it on fire. Hashtag finish the fight. You know, what a lively bunch you lot are this week. If you want to get involved and share more of your thoughts on the latest, then here's how you can get in touch with us. It's pretty simple. You can tweet us at News2Gamers, like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for all your latest gaming news. Stay with us as after the break, Simon will be answering some of those tweets as he reviews EA's UFC 2. And Richard has a pretty damn exciting respawn to share with us. You know, I know I'm excited. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back to News2Gamers. Still to come, I'll be reviewing the brawler of all brawlers in EA Sports Fighter UFC 2. First up though, we love reliving some of the most classic games that were once a part of our awesome collections. So let's go retro style now, all the way back to the PlayStation 1. It's an odd world out there.
So it's been 2 weeks in a row where I've respawned games which give the player the option to belch and fart, and hopefully it won't be the last. In Abe's Odyssey you play as Abe, a slave worker born into a life of servitude in Rupture Farms, the biggest meat processing plant on the dystopian and aptly titled planet Oddworld. Unfortunately, the profits for this friendly neighbourhood evil corporation have been running low as of late, and the maniacal CEO has decided to cut costs by using their slaves as meat products, which is perfectly understandable in times of recession, but it's also understandable that as Abe overhears these plans, he naturally decides escaping the factory would be likely worth his while. In order to do this, you have to get up to your typical 2D platformery antics, solving puzzles, avoiding obstacles and enemies, jumping over inconveniently placed gaps, etc. But the game also brought in some fairly innovating mechanics along with it too. One of these being stealth, a feature not often present in games at the time. The most interesting ability the player has at their disposal had to be the ability to telepathically control NPCs. You utilise these mind-controlled makeshift Manchurian candidates to do your bidding, such as attacking enemies and solving dangerous puzzles, all at the cost of leaving yourself vulnerable throughout the duration of said possession. The game was understandably received with flying colours across the gaming press and won its fair share of awards. The game certainly isn't made to be easy, but it certainly isn't difficult to still enjoy given the fact it will be of the ripe old age of 20 next year. This has been Richard Gullick for Respawn.
Abe's Odyssey, great game. What a moment to relive then. And there is actually a new Oddworld in development. It's not due out until the end of 2017, unfortunately. So I'll have to wait a little bit longer just to get our fix. Right, let's answer some of those burning questions that you lot have been throwing at us over the latest UFC title. Here is the News2Gamers review for EA Sports UFC 2. The curse of the EA cover has struck yet again, with the Madden series taking the full brunt of it the past years. However, it now seems as though this insidious voodoo has hit the octagon with MMA's two of the biggest fighters. First up, we saw Ronda Rousey drop to the mat after a devastating kick from Holly Holmes that not only ended the reign of the bantamweight megastar's unbeaten run, but it also damaged the credentials of the game's packaging. All this just days after she was chosen to appear on the cover. Next, it was Conor McGregor, who notoriously tapped to Nate Diaz's choke in the first bout following the Irishman's crowning as Rousey's cover co-star. Of course, both of these iconic combatants have the quality and class to bounce back from their savage defeats, which is exactly what EA Canada has done with its UFC franchise. The authenticity is top-notch, details such as the camera that pans around the octagon and in front of a discordant crowd of drunken MMA fans. The legend Bruce Buffer takes the spotlight to roar out his ever-recognisable dialogue with all the exhilaration and desire we've come to expect from the veteran voice of the octagon. The crowd explodes into life with chants of Ole as the notorious Irishman Conor McGregor faces up to his next opponent. And true to life, the intense Joe Rogan erupts with passion as his fists connect with his opponent's jaw and the fighter is sent tumbling to the canvas in a bloody heap. If there is one thing UFC 2 is brilliant at, besides looking so damn good, is the fact that it captures the unpredictable mix of martial arts. Fights can feel completely open, almost poetically random. I've had some intense and brutal marathon matches that have gone the full 5 rounds. Others I've blinked and missed tasteless bouts that have ended within the first minute, courtesy of a pulverising knee to the face delivered from a Muay Thai clinch. Despite being totally unpredictable, this is definitely a good thing. To begin each bout, you're immediately introduced to UFC 2's exceptional and faultless mechanic, the stand-up game. This is full of brutally violent physics-based combat where collision exposure has improved over its previous number, and unpredictably is a continuous threat. If it falls flat in the slightest, it becomes a game of finger gymnastics that is required to pull off some of the most intense moves in its huge arsenal of strikes. A precise kick to the body might take, for example, 4 buttons pressed simultaneously to execute, which is hardly ideal. Aside from that, this is a solid brawler. Every bout is often fast-paced and frantic, which can occasionally mean the demands of your attention will ensure skill and precision and senseless swinging and button mashing. Constantly, you must be mindful of the stamina gauge, spacing sways, distance dodges, timing blocks, and parries. However, where UFC 2 really separates itself from the rest is in the superb submission game and on the ground. The most simplistic way to describe the various jiu-jitsu elements of the game is similar to playing and transitioning through different chords on the guitar. At first, it can be painstakingly difficult and frustrating, but after plenty of practice and time, it becomes smooth, fluid, and fun. This makes each opportunity you get to take an opponent down to the ground and choke him out with a Japanese necktie well worth the original frustration. The mode suite has been given an overhaul as well. For starters, Korea now includes additional options for fighter development. This includes a complete fun risk-reward balance to unique training, where if you continuously train too hard, you will increase the likelihood of a very abrupt injury. There are a lot of different variables that can also affect your training, like any thoughtless TV binges or a more or less focused coach. Although it would become slightly annoying to see my fighter act in a self-sabotaging manner outside of my control, it was also quite entertaining to see the various wildcard factors that would pop up to affect the upcoming fight. UFC Ultimate Team is new and more impressive than I originally anticipated. It allows you to make an all-star fighter team of 5 across your weight classes. Each team earns a plethora of different unique perks from a series of cards. The end result is a bit of a mix-up of card battling and MMA. You can craft your own fully fledged fighters if you want, or just use the existing fighter roster with preset stats and individual movesets. It's a slightly welcomed unique game plan if you wanted to have rivals that would never usually team up, like Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate, for example. Otherwise, it's a fun little mode that adds plenty of challenges, but your fighters can improve and others can use them and earn you lots of XP. UFC 2 is a solid MMA game that has built on what was flawed with its predecessor, with an arena full of awesome fighters, and the inclusion and updated female fighter roster bolsters things just a little. Far more fighters are in the women's bantamweight division now, and the female strawweight division also makes its video game debut. Graphically, it's stunning. I mean, it's more impressive than any other sports game on so many levels. It may have a few annoyances, such as button response times and repetitive button mashing, but it's a game every fighter, brawler and MMA fan needs to have in their collection. And with more variety this time around, you won't get bored after 2 weeks of playing it either. Not a bad game, UFC 2. It might be our lowest score on News2Gamers so far, but it'll still hold plenty of appeal for the huge fan base that UFC currently has. Right, it's the end of the show, but we've got something very exciting lined up for next week, don't we?
We do. As it's our final episode of the season, we have decided to bring the cast into News2Gamers, and we're going to have a bit of a competition where the lucky winner will go home with the awesome N2G Platinum Trophy.
We have judges, including AMP's very own Kerrang Radio legend Johnny Doom, plus fresh from Paloma Faith's grasp, we have a girl drop by from The Voice. Also, one of the industry's top PR guys. They're all jumping in to make this amazing episode. We're accompanied by a load of cosplayers as well. It's going to be pretty awesome.
Yes, we'll be showing all of that and more with you next week on the show from our usual time of 10:30 p.m. GMT time. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get all of your up-to-date content and full episodes of N2G TV. Keep it locked.